Well, and I mean, I remember a time, Andrew, when the logo you were stoked to have on you was the Kirkland brand. Have you graduated from Costco?
Welcome to Millennial, the home of pretend adulting and real talk. I'm Andrew.
I'm Laura.
And I'm Pamela.
So this week in the Dumpster Fire Corner, don't know if y'all saw this last night, Monday night, the FCC trashed Stephen Colbert's interview with James Talarico, who is running in Texas's primary for its U.S. Senate seat coming up. Ultimately, CBS, Colbert's network, decided to say that Colbert could not air this interview in primetime or through any of CBS's affiliates because it might violate the FCC's equal time rule for talking to political candidates. Part of the reason they got a little bit touchy about this is because early voting in the Texas primaries started today, Tuesday. We're recording the day that we're recording the show. And I guess CBS was a little jumpy about angering our toddler in chief. But what I found really interesting about this is that broadcast networks are or have been required to give equal time to political candidates. Nothing new about that. But that rule hasn't traditionally been applied to talk shows.
Right.
It's because it's
and
not
therein
news.
lies the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
What'd you
a
say?
news. It's not news. It's an entertainment program,
Exactly.
and it's a loophole. So, technically, it should not apply to Colbert's show, even though he covers the news, but he commentates on it. He doesn't report on it. So that's the difference.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I find so funny about this is there's a whole ass news network that I can think of that definitely does not do this equal time rule. So very, very interesting that they're wanting to slap Colbert on the wrist
Does it
over this.
start with an F and end in Ox News? Is that the one you're talking
Yeah,
about?
that
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Well, I really loved how Colbert was very transparent about this situation. He spent 8.5 minutes last night talking about what happened. And then he released this interview with James Talarico on his YouTube channel. It's gotten 3.1 million views in 19 hours.
I was going to say, I'm going to watch it now. I wasn't going to, I saw it last night and I was like,
Exactly.
I'm not going to I'm going to, wait, nothing pressing, but I'll watch it now.
I watched it earlier today. He's a fantastic guy. He was talking about how Republicans have twisted the Bible's words. This is a really religious guy. I was actually very moved by everything that he said. And yeah, nobody would have cared about this. We've used the phrase before, the Streisand Effect. This is exactly what happened.
Totally. And all of this just points back to, and we've talked about this again and again, but the chair of the FCC is another Trump yes man. So Carr is just trying to make sure that his boss is happy, right? And so that's why they're going after these talk shows. I mean, earlier in the year, they were also talking about going after The View, right? Because they felt like The View was violating the equal time rule. And it's like they're just commentating. There's no...
With James Talarico.
Right.
That came up with James Talarico. They are scared of this
They're
guy.
really scared about Texas.
Yeah.
No, they're scared about Texas in general. And that's why, I mentioned this on Roll Call, but I haven't mentioned it on here. But when I was in Texas last week, the amount of money that conservatives running for Senate in Texas are spending on television ads must be insane, because every time I was in the lobby of the hotel we were staying at, either to get a cup of coffee or wait for my ride, it was 6 ad rolls straight,
Yeah, I'm sure.
And not one of them was for a Democratic candidate. I'm sure they're advertising somewhere, but the fact that Republican Senate candidates feel that they need to up the ante that much, I think that says a lot.
Well, they're terrified of midterms in general.
Right.
But
everything's Greg Abbott approved, blah, blah, blah. It's
But yeah, I mean, they also just had that recent state Senate seat upset in that special election in Texas. That's an R plus 20 district in the last election, ended up flipping to a Dem. So there's momentum around the Democratic cause nationwide, it seems like. And they're terrified of it, and they're trying to distract from it at any chance they can get. So I really love how Colbert handled this because, again, like you pointed out, Andrew, all this did was actually get more attention on Talarico's interview, not less.
Everybody go watch it. He gives Obama vibes in his manner of speaking. Yeah. And fuck Brendan Carr. I mean, this is the FCC commissioner. He's supposed to be acting independently. He absolutely is not. This guy a few weeks ago was wearing a Donald Trump pin on his lapel. And I shouldn't even bring attention to that because that's exactly what he wants. He wants attention from the left. Like, oh, they're going to get so mad because I was wearing a Donald Trump pin. But it's just emblematic of a larger issue with him.
So moving on, just a quick Epstein update. Of course, there are like a million Epstein updates that we could be giving, but I thought this one was important. So former White House counsel under Barack Obama, Catherine Rumler, who up until recently was a lawyer at Goldman Sachs, is stepping down from her position after her relationship with, quote, Uncle Jeffrey, as she called him in the emails, was revealed to be a little too friendly. And I just wanted to say, see, it's not hard to say when the people who are on your side are part of the problem. And I would say, continuing, everybody should testify. Everyone should testify publicly. Let the Clintons, in particular, testify publicly. If you're attached to this, you need to testify, period. I don't care what letter is in front of your name.
The left has been very clear about this. We are happy to see anybody who was involved or tied with Epstein to step down. They can all go. We don't give two craps about these people.
Girl, bye.
But it can't be a one-way street.
No, but it's so funny because I'm sure you've seen interviews and the like with Hillary Clinton recently, but the Clintons are being held to a higher standard than the guy who's literally sitting in the Oval Office.
And Trump keeps saying that the Epstein files exonerate him when he is mentioned in these files over 1 million times. If you believe people who have seen the unredacted Epstein files, namely Jamie Raskin, Donald Trump is the Epstein files. It's the Trump files featuring Jeffrey Epstein. That's my take now.
Oh, no. Never mind. I was going to make a joke in poor taste, and we're just not going to go there.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what's happening there. We are going to talk about feeling rich in a little bit. Emphasis on feeling rich, not being rich. But first, this show is brought to you by listeners like you. By supporting us over at patreon.com/millennial, you can get instant access to lots of perks, including our weekly After Dark installments. What's coming up this week, Pam?
I saw this article in the New York Times talking about what the real secret to happiness is, and it's based on some research that a couple of psychologists have done. The answer is probably going to sound a little bit hokey, but maybe they're onto something. So we'll be talking about that and talking about if we feel like that applies to ourselves in our own lives.
Okay. And it's not drugs or alcohol?
Unfortunately not.
Okay. Yeah, because I've tried those things. They're not helping much.
Sadly, it's not Lexapro either.
Yeah. By supporting us on Patreon, you'll get other benefits like monthly Zoom hangouts with the three of us, live stream access, and ad-free episodes.
And if you're looking for other ways to help us out, you can always wear your love. You can visit shop.millennialshow.com to grab official show gear. We'd also appreciate it if you told a fellow millennial about the show, and make sure you're following us in your favorite podcast app.
I just saw Laura take a swig from the Millennial beer can glass.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except I'm drinking water because I'm being healthy.
Oh, she's a hydrated queen. We appreciate that. And I'm wearing the denim hat, so we're sporting some millennial gear tonight. We practice what we preach. It's all functional and works. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about the booming business of luxury grocery stores. We'll be right back. So I also saw an article this week I wanted to talk about with you too. It was in the Wall Street Journal, and it looks at the growing popularity of high-end, healthy, luxury grocery stores and why they've taken off with Gen Z and millennials in particular. Part of what these grocery stores are selling is an experience. One shop owner in New York described their goal as making it feel like you just took a Xanax. So you walk in and you're just feeling a certain vibe. You mix like this relaxed atmosphere with the goal of these places to sell these very high quality, healthy foods. And the MAHA movement might actually be a factor here. We'll get into that in a little bit. And you have this combination in which people are willing to spend more to live a bougie, arguably healthier life. And I think to maybe feel rich, to feel privileged. This trend can actually be traced back to Erewhon, which operates about a dozen stores in LA and went viral a couple years ago for that $19 single strawberry served on a little pillow. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
And in case you don't speak snob, Erewhon is just the word nowhere backwards. I think that's so cool.
It sounds like something from Star Wars.
But in the store in New York that the Wall Street Journal profiled, they found $15 glass bottles of oat milk, $15 chicken nuggets, and $750 caviar. And Laura has a couple other examples that she'll share a little later. But as an aside, when promoting this article, the Wall Street Journal caught some shit for broadly saying on social media that all millennials and Gen Zers are prioritizing expensive food over their student loan debt and buying a home. And while I do think people are probably wasting their money at places like this, I really don't think it's the lower or middle class millennials or Gen Zers who are shopping at these places. It just can't be.
Yeah, not for like regular groceries. I think it's like a little treat. If you're buying into the hype of like the Erewhon smoothies, for example, maybe you go in. It's like I think it's like the new avocado toast.
Is it the Erewhon smoothie?
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking.
Because they were doing a lot of like celebrity collaborations for a while with Erewhon. Like Hailey Bieber had a smoothie, Sabrina Carpenter had a smoothie. Like everybody was making their own smoothies, and so people it draws people in for better or worse.
Yeah.
And these things are like $20 a pop. You know, that's kind of crazy. But then also, if you think about any kind of like, I don't know if any of you have ever been to like a juicery or whatever, but like it's like expensive anyway. Outside of that, it's probably not that much marked up than going to like a cold pressed juice bar where you're probably going to spend like $16 on a green juice that you don't really want to drink because it kind of tastes bad, but you're gonna do it anyway.
So, and you feel healthy and you feel rich.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I was definitely gonna say, Pam, it's definitely giving like you can't afford a home because you buy too much avocado toast. Like
yes.
It feels like a recycled version of that argument. And I don't tend to believe that millennials and Gen Z who are unable to afford this are like going, what's this place called again? Erewhon?
Erewhon, yeah.
Erewhon, it's nowhere backwards.
Yeah, I just don't believe that they're going there and dropping a ton of money. I mean, there's definitely people who are dumb with their money and will spend it on things like this just to fit in, depending on the crowd they're running with. But I think it would be painting with very broad strokes to say that a lot of people are doing it.
Yeah, and it's also the same as going to like that like salad bar where it's like $20 for only mixed greens. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is that Sweet Green?
Sweet Greens, yeah.
This situation also reminds me of how people get into serious credit card debt in order to fit in with their friends. Like you were saying, Laura, like, you know, you see people attending concerts and you know that, especially with dynamic pricing and Ticketmaster these days, people are spending upwards of $1,000 to go to shows, and you see them post on social media and you're like, wow, that is so cool. I can't believe they did it. But at what cost? that $1,000 might be sitting on their credit card bill for a long time, and that's going to seriously add up in terms of the interest on those tickets. So when you see people at Erewhon getting the Hailey Bieber smoothie or getting a ticket to Beyonce and, front row, don't think it's because they have the money. People just, go into debt and think about dealing with it later. Have you two been to an Erewhon, by the way?
I haven't.
No, something like it. No, I haven't.
I
either.
guess
I'm so curious.
There are. I think everybody kind of has like local grocery stores that are a little more high end. So I don't think it's any different than that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
personally.
And Pam, when we were talking about this article last week, you had mentioned to me there used to be what were considered the high end. Whole Foods and other places used to be the high-end grocery stores. And now it's funny how Erewhon and these other ones have kind of leapfrogged them. Whole Foods, we all know, used to be, whole paycheck. But then they got bought by Amazon, and I think Amazon brought the prices down a little bit. And Whole Foods is still pretty nice. But this is a whole other level of bougie.
Right, exactly. Or like the big one, too, in LA used to be Gelson's. Like that was like the celebrity grocery store. I guess it probably still is for some people because Erewhon might be too special interest. To me, that's what it feels like. It feels like a special interest grocery store,
Okay, and I'm also realizing now Erewhon is actually not nowhere backwards. Thank you to the chat. Somebody told me that once and I was like, that must
Somebody
be...
told me that too. Oh, yeah. Well, it almost
the W
is.
and the H are reversed.
Yeah.
It's close.
Yeah.
I bet it's still intended to be nowhere backwards for some stupid reason.
Yeah.
So we don't know what it means now. Jury's out.
Nothing.
See, if we were bougie, we would know. But, right. I'm a college dropout.
Outside of the tax bracket.
Listen, I feel like I made it because I can afford to shop at Publix. Okay?
Okay, it says on their site, named Erewhon after one of their favorite books. That's a bougie reason, too.
Yeah, that's pretty snobby.
The thing that gets me about these bougie stores is, maybe you could say, Andrew, don't yuck people's yum. Let people spend their hard-earned money how they want. It's the fact that food is one and done for me. It'd be one thing if this was expensive clothing or you're splurging on like high quality cookware. We've talked before about spending extra money for things that last a lifetime. You're buying a salad that's going to last 3 days. It would be impossible for me to justify regularly visiting one of these grocery stores.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would think of it more so along the lines of what Pam was talking about earlier, which is like maybe if there was something they had there that was just up my alley that I wanted to get as a special little treat to myself, if there was some special smoothie that I wanted to go get in support of whichever influencer created it for them, like maybe that. But in terms of just regular grocery shopping, I could not justify this.
Or like a special ingredient, because I feel like sometimes you do have to go to these like higher end stores to more easily find certain things. I can't think of like a good example right now, but for a while it used to be like like you couldn't find like gluten-free flour everywhere, but you might go to Whole Foods to get gluten-free flour.
How about a strawberry on a pillow? That's pretty rare.
Next Valentine's Day. That's what it sounds like. Everything sounds like a gimmick coming from, a place like this, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even just down to the packaging. Like, on one hand, it's like, it's like low waste. But on the other hand, it does seem really silly to like see water and actual mason jars being sold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With like a single celery stick in it.
See, I wish I could tell if you're joking or not.
I'm not.
Oh my God.
I remember
barely
that.
Joking. Yeah.
Didn't that go viral a year or two ago?
Yeah.
What
it's
is
like weird
the
stuff
point
like
of that? What is it?
I don't know. Maybe celery infused water.
Yeah, it makes the water nutrient rich. But I do remember that.
But
and
wait,
people were losing their
isn't
mind.
celery like 99% water already? Like what?
Yeah, but what about that 1%? What about that 1%?
Jesus.
It's because celery juice was having a moment for a while in the health food industry, and that's probably why it was celery everything.
Yeah. Stores like this do well in LA and New York because it's all about the look. Walking down the street, walking down Cahuenga, it's all about the look. Who looks the most rich? Who looks like they could be a celebrity?
So it's like a wealth signaling thing.
I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When these people might not even have it.
Again, I think about like the local mom and pop shops that are also more expensive, like than, your average Publix or Kroger or whatever you want to call it. And it's like, I think like that is like, to me, that feels like a bigger signifier of wealth if you're able to shop local for your food.
Agreed.
Or if you can go every weekend to the farmer's market. We have a farmer's market every weekend, rain or shine. To me, that is like if you're really trying to like eat organic and shop local, like that to me is more of a signifier of wealth than going to an Erewhon.
Fair, but I think like in my case, I prefer going to, let's say, a local bookstore versus Barnes & Noble because I want to support local. You want to support the mom and pop grocery store.
Of course.
So that's why I would do that. I didn't mean to.
But you can also afford to do it because that place is probably not going to have sales like, a Costco would.
Right. Well, and if you go to a store like that to buy something, chances are you're not going to be able to get it in bulk quantities, right? So you're going to be paying more for a smaller quantity of something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
$19 for a single strawberry. That is a real thing, people. I hope you all know that is a real thing that happens. The other thing is, even if you do have the money to shop in an Erewhon or similar, I am kind of judging you for not putting that money elsewhere. Put it in an index fund, put it in the stock market. I don't know, put it in a house. Like, it seems like an extreme waste of money. On a related note, in this Wall Street Journal article, I want to quote this one moment. Somebody told the Wall Street Journal, her name is Samantha Pearlstein, a 26-year-old sales engineer. I love an expensive grocery store. It's an experience and it's food all together. She tried to convince her boyfriend to tag along, but he declines, she says. The store's concept was too dystopian for him. If I'm the boyfriend, I think I'm breaking up. If I'm looking at my girlfriend and she's shopping in a dystopian grocery store, I mean, that's got to be the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to the shop. I would literally go there to, like, side-eye the prices of things.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the things that, like, exist in other stores that are way cheaper and they're just marked up because they're being sold at, Erewhon or whatever.
Uh-huh. Should this guy break up with her?
Yeah, I mean, if it's serious enough for him to refer to her shopping preferences as dystopian, to me, that sounds like there are bigger issues at
some
play.
Hunger Games, Capital District.
Just to say, it's like she's Effie Trinket.
Yeah.
And he's PETA. Because, like, I just picture this guy looking into the store and be like, oh, these people are so sad. And one of them is your girlfriend. All right, well, good luck, you two. So, okay. So maybe some people going in, maybe this person, Samantha, she's looking at her $85 flour arrangements and $23 salads. Those are real prices in this grocery store. Maybe she just wants to feel rich. I wanted to ask you too, if you splurge on things to feel rich, and I have to admit, I've become a bit of a Lululemon girly, and I never thought I would be this person, but I got not peer pressured. I got influenced by a couple friends who love their Lulu stuff. And there's a Lulu outlet here. So I can get stuff for better prices than you would get in their normal stores. And I love the look. And this is going to be one of the bougiest things I ever say on the show. I like having that logo on me.
Oh, damn.
I know. I've turned into a bit of a brand whore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I mean, I remember a time, Andrew, when the logo you were stoked to have on you was the Kirkland brand. Have you graduated from Costco?
Yeah, what trash wears the Kirkland signature logo on their body? No, I'm still a man of the people. I still wear my Kirkland t-shirt. In fact, I saw a Kirkland hoodie at the store the other day. I was like, oh, maybe I should buy that. No, I'm in a bit of an athleisure era and I'm trying to be comfortable, especially during the winter. How do you two like to feel rich?
Fragrances.
That is nice.
I like to smell expensive. However, I oftentimes get dupes because I'm not willing to spend money on the real thing. If somebody wants to gift me the real thing, then I'm happy to accept it. But if I'm buying it, I'm going to like a dossier or something like that, which, by the way, they have some good deals on like sets right now. Like you can get a 3 set of like their highest like best sellers, and it's like $100 for like 3 full-size perfumes. Whereas like if you were buying one of like the original versions that wasn't a dupe of one of those, it would be well over $100 for one that's much smaller than that. So like that's a good way to get more bang for your buck. But in particular, I really like their ambery saffron and floral marshmallow. I think they smell expensive. I think they smell like something that you paid a lot more for than what I paid for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of on a related note, and I guess this relates to what I'm talking about with Lulu. We've heard this before, and it is a good reminder for everybody. If you just dress up, be it with perfume or wear something a little nicer, you do feel better. You do feel rich.
Sometimes you get treated better too. Like I was at the airport, because I just got back from a trip, and cognizant of the fact that I'm flying standby because my family works for the airline. So I was like, I'm not making a crazy effort because you still want to be comfortable, but definitely more of an effort than just showing up in like joggers and a sweater, which no shade. But it's also like, I don't know if the gate agent is going to be somebody that knows my family. And the airport is still is weirdly still one of those places, even though it's become more customary to go more comfortable, that I feel like you still get treated better if you put a little more effort in.
Uh-oh. You know who you're sounding like?
Who?
Our new travel commissioner. What's his name? Sean Duffy.
Uh-oh.
He's telling us all to dress up at the airport.
I don't think you need to dress up a lot, but I do think that like in a weird way, it does kind of work.
Okay, Sean Duffy, Secretary of Transportation. Do you think we should do pull-ups at the airport too now?
No.
That was his thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right.
I am saying that like every time I boarded a plane, which I had a few connections, like somebody helped me with my bag.
Aw.
So,
I mean, to Pam's point, I've experienced showing up for a flight looking very disheveled because I was just wearing like a hoodie and sweatpants and like rolled out of bed and like ran out the door. But I've also experienced going to the airport like for a work trip where I was like, well, I'm on a work trip. I shouldn't, I should try to like look like a professional. You do get treated differently. It's not right, but it's
true. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Pam, how do you feel rich?
Definitely like cosmetics and like in the like Laura. I agree that sometimes like a certain scent can make you feel more put together. I really I've switched over to like mostly drugstore cosmetics, but I still buy, like lipstick usually from the same brand, and it's like $35 a tube, which is crazy. But it is like one of those things where it's like it looks nice, the product feels good on, the colors like great. So I keep splurging.
Listeners, let us know how you feel rich. We're curious. We're looking for tips on how to feel rich without spending like we're rich. So please do let us know. Laura, I mentioned the MAHA movement earlier.
Yeah, so let's talk about the MAHA movement and some recent changes to the food pyramid and all the ways in which RFK Jr. is kind of serving as an influencer when it comes to healthy food consumption.
Yeah.
So basically, just want to give y'all a little bit of a primer on the updated food pyramid. So the updated food pyramid that RFK released flips the traditional diagram on its head. It downplays whole grains and moves protein and full-fat dairy to the top as foods to be eaten most days or most often, along with fruits and vegetables. Along with this, the White House announced that it was, quote, ending the war on protein by situating protein and full-fat dairies towards the top of the food pyramid. And this is where we can pause quickly and the narrator can come in and say there was no war on protein. In fact, many Americans were eating more protein than they actually needed.
I was just going to say, like, even if you look at like the fad diets, it's been like some different form of Atkins since the 90s, and Atkins is high protein.
Not to
paleo, keto, all of that is high protein, high fat.
Yes, and not to mention all the shit that gets marketed as high protein. I think, Pam, you and I talked about this recently. Freaking Starbucks has a protein latte you can get now.
It's like, protein everything. There's protein popcorn, protein chips, protein,
there's been no war on protein going back 3-4 years at this point. You mentioned Starbucks. Dutch Bros has a bunch of protein stuff. Every place has... They're packing protein into everything now because that's the hot, trendy ingredient right now, or nutrient.
And granted, like, I don't think it's a bad thing to have options that make it easy for people to hit their protein goals, but to pretend that this country is somehow waging a war on protein is freaking laughable. What were you going to say, Pam?
I was just saying the reality is most people don't need that much protein unless they're really trying to bulk up.
Right. Exactly. So it's not just sort of like a war on traditional proteins that the White House is trying to combat. It's also, I guess, a war against saturated fats that RFK and this White House are trying to roll back. And I will introduce y'all to something called beef tallow. Have y'all heard about this?
Mostly as a beauty product.
Oh.
Like every time, because I have really dry skin in the winter, and every time I try and look up like to see if there's something that people are recommending. It's like the big thing is like, oh, beef tallow, or it's like some kind of skin care with beef tallow in it, or some kind of tallow, which, like, yes, traditionally was used as a moisturizer, but I've also seen cases where like people switch over and use beef tallow for everything, and then like their skin goes to shit. So it's weird.
Oh, so this is why RFK Jr. looks the way he does.
Yeah, let's go with that.
I think it might have something to do with the snorting of cocaine off toilet seats, which, by the way, is something that he spoke about publicly recently when he was asked if he was worried about germs. But, yes, let's take our cues on vaccines from that guy. But beef tallow, it's basically just like a different kind of, it's a multi-purpose thing, but like a cooking oil.
It's lard.
Essentially.
It's clarified lard.
Yes.
Like they just take out all the crap.
And for the past 50 years, the FDA, as well as the federal government, have really urged people, not just them, but also like cardiologists and, medical groups have been urging people not to use this because it is very high in saturated fat and contributes to a lot of heart-related health risks. But the MAHA movement is really buying into this idea of beef tallow as this like all-purpose miracle lard. I don't know if RFK would want to call it that, but like they really seem to think like you can use it for your skin, you cook with it, you can clean with it, it'll help you get over COVID, it'll like help you remain like resistant to all of these viruses and bacteria instead of getting vaccines. Like it's just cuckoo banana shit. But I thought this whole topic was so interesting because I've been noticing that, in particular, kind of like you, Pam, a lot of influencers are coming out and acting like they've always used beef tallow as part of their skincare routine. Just like the vibe of the way they message it where they're like, I've always used this and my skin went from this to this. And it's like, I didn't see any of y'all talking about this a year ago, 2 years ago. But I thought what was really interesting on Thanksgiving of 2024, beef tallow was thrust onto the national stage by a barefoot RFK Jr. when he pulled a turkey from a vat of boiling beef tallow and declared, "This is how we cook the MAHA way."
Oh
no.
And so I think this is a really good example of how the government and government officials can actually drive and influence the things that Americans believe to be healthier for them, either because it fits a personal agenda for someone like RFK or because it makes money for certain other lobbies. And we'll talk about an example of that later.
Well, it's also like branding too, because it's like if you tell somebody, say, like, you're cooking with Crisco, like, they're like, ew, that's just fat, right? But all of a sudden it's like beef tallow, like, it's perfectly fine for deep frying a turkey. That's the exact same thing.
Right.
So it's so weird to me how, like, I mean, like, it's not surprising. It's like, it's kind of like the clean girl aesthetic, or like, a lot of things get rebranded in a way that is more palatable, specifically to white Americans, and then all of a sudden it's completely passable and acceptable to use.
Simple ingredients, organic, no additives, on and on and on. Sugar-free, fat-free, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And in defense of beef tallow, because I don't want to totally sully its name, 40 is pointing out that it's sold at most stores from a variety of brands, and it wasn't originally a MAHA-driven thing. That is true. It's obviously been around a very long time. It's having somewhat of a resurgence right now against like the crunchy granola demographic, the kind of people we used to make fun of on this show, like way back in the day, for believing like they could cure their illnesses with amulets and crystals and shit.
And essential oils.
Yeah. But another one that I thought we could talk about that has been seeing a resurgence, I think, for multiple years at this point, is raw milk. Erewhon also has raw milk. They sell it for like $20 a gallon.
That's crazy.
That's
$20. They also have raw butter and raw cheese. This shit's expensive. They have a stick of butter, $18.99 for raw butter.
That's basically just unpasteurized.
Yes.
Yeah, you're paying more for something that's had less done to it.
Yeah, but they say that it has healthy benefits for you that you lose in the pasteurization process. Things like salmonella, E. coli, listeria.
Totally.
I definitely want that stuff in my belly. But I thought we could talk about the Got Milk campaign. Do you remember this from like our childhood? And it still exists today, but I think it's been rebranded.
I used to think that campaign was so cool, honestly. The photos they would take of these celebrities. And there would be surprises too, like Sesame Street characters. I think did Got Milk ads, like kids characters would often do it. And yeah, it was an amazing campaign.
Well, then it had the intended effect on you because they were really trying to make it cool.
Yeah. Well, did it have an impact on you two?
I thought that they were cool. I remember seeing them a lot. Like they would always be like up in the school. I think the schools just all got, it's kind of like the reading, like the reading posters that they used to have too. Mm-hmm. But I have been lactose intolerant since I was like 9, so no.
You would look at those posters and be like, leave me alone. I can't drink
Looking at those posters, I was like, that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. But they really did try to convince kids through that viral marketing that if you didn't drink enough milk, you were going to be physically weak. Like, I was reading about one of the commercials they showed, and there was a man who he was an old man and he hadn't drunk enough milk during his life, and he tried to pick up something heavy and his arms fell off. Like they really tried to drive home this idea that like milk was going to make you stronger. However, the Got Milk campaign was run for the California Milk Processor Board to address low sales of milk in the state. And this was later taken nationwide after it was very successful. Additionally, the USDA actually enforced fees on farmers to fund the campaign in order to take it nationwide. And the USDA is also the body that mandates milk in public school lunchrooms. You know how kids, like, they go buy their public school lunch. What beverage does it come with? Milk.
Milk.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great example of how industry and government can kind of be in bed together for monetary reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know necessarily that's what we're seeing at play so much today with some of these examples, but I do think it's a personal agenda by someone who really thinks that he knows what is at the root of all American illness. RFK really does seem to think that the American diet is the number one cause of all the sickness we have. And like, listen, I don't totally disagree with him.
Right.
Like, our diet in this country sucks. We allow processed foods and chemicals in our foods that are not allowed in any other industrialized nation. So there's some of his thoughts that I do agree with, just insofar as like, yeah, if you're eating whole nutritious foods, your health outcomes are going to be better. But I think he takes it to this extreme of like, we should start giving the kids raw milk and shit. And it's just like, it's this extreme that's like actually counterintuitive to the health considerations.
Well, and that's the frustrating thing with this whole situation is RFK has some good ideas and he's trying to make some of those good ideas happen. But to your point, he has gone too far. His anti-vax stances are not good. And then I also think to myself, well, why wasn't the Biden administration or the Obama administration trying to ban food dyes, certain food dyes and certain ingredients, stuff like that? Why wasn't that a bigger priority? So I can see why RFK Jr. and Trump's message may have resonated for a lot of people. My sister is somebody who's very conscious about the ingredients that are in her child's food. So she hears RFK talking and she feels some sort of way about it. She likes seeing somebody in a position of power who cares and is trying to make a difference. So it's a tricky situation. I would like to see this more from the left going forward. And maybe RFK Jr. And his prominence in this Trump administration will inspire the left to get more serious about taking care of what's in Americans' food.
Yeah, well, and actually get an expert to sit in that seat,
A sane one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, not one who's like, don't trust vaccines, but we can eat roadkill and like swim in like poop infested water. That's fine because our natural immunity will fight it off. If we smother ourselves in beef tallow, like just crazy shit. But yeah, I'd be interested to know from anyone at home if you've ever been influenced by something like this, where there was like a health fad that was going on, whether it was one that was driven by your local government or if it was just influencers. Like, really curious to know what are the reasons that people buy into this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And Loyalist Lord is bringing up, and I remember this, Michelle Obama tried to get kids to eat healthier, and look how that went. Yeah, like the right was like, how dare she try to change school lunches and stuff. But that was a first lady initiative. And I think it hits differently if somebody in, let's say, Obama's cabinet is actually trying to make some changes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think people also had a problem with it because she was a Black woman and they were just looking for any excuse to be against what the Obamas were doing.
Yeah, true.
So I think that's part of it too. But yeah, like she was specifically trying to target school lunches.
Yeah.
To make
well,
those
it's
healthier.
The same thing as how like the Black Panther Party had an active hand in making sure school lunches were free when that first started going around in the 70s, I think, and that's like a huge reason why still conservatives don't want to contribute to the free school lunch program, because it historically has roots to the Black Power movement, but also just because they don't want to spend money on the lives that are already, actively living. So
yeah, hey, they got to pull themselves up by the bootstraps. We got to focus on the unborn fam.
Right, exactly.
All right. Well, before we get to recommendations, just want to remind everybody that we would really appreciate everybody's support at patreon.com/millennial. And also send in some feedback about today's discussion. We love hearing from you. You can email millennialshow@gmail.com. You can also use the contact form on millennialshow.com. And there's ways to reach out via the platforms you might be listening on. You can leave a comment on Spotify or YouTube, or you can DM us on social. And if you enjoy the show, we would appreciate a review in your favorite podcast app. Time for some recommendations. And I have a re-rec. Y'all, if you have a pet, get pet insurance. Brooklyn's getting older. I'm using this nonstop in recent months. The way this pays for itself is unbelievable. I am invoicing so much, and they are covering so much of it. And my insurance is about $70 a month. Brooklyn's on prescription dog food now. And Figo is covering that too. So it's like I'm paying less. Yeah. So just like so much, it's such a relief to have. And when you are covered by insurance, you might be more inclined to get more tests done because you're ultimately going to be paying less for it. So I cannot recommend this enough. You got to get in early, though. I wouldn't say as soon as you get a dog necessarily you need pet insurance. I got away without insurance for probably like 7 years. But I would say in hindsight, once my dog turned 4 or 5, getting insurance then would have been good. And the reason I say that is because they won't cover pre-existing conditions. So you got to get in while your dog or cat or whatever pet is still healthy. Pet insurance, people, I promise you, you're going to be glad you signed up for it.
For anyone who's looking to smell good on a budget, I want to recommend EOS's Vanilla Cashmere fragrance. So that's EOS. I've always said EOS. I don't know if there are other pronunciations of that. But it's a drugstore brand. Like you can get it at your local drugstore, like Walmart, Target. You can get it on Amazon and subscribe and save a little bit to get it. But it's a really like warm, cozy scent. And yeah, if you're looking for a cost-affordable way to smell good, do that.
And I also have a re-recommendation. I wanted to recommend the Whole Foods coffee bar, like literally the coffee shop inside Whole Foods that Whole Foods runs. It's a really great deal for espresso beverages. If you're a latte person or an Americano person, it's really, really reasonably priced, and the quality of the drinks are also really good. So next time you're by a Whole Foods and you also just happen to have a hankering for a cup of coffee, I would stop in there before I stopped into, another expensive chain.
Will I feel rich?
Of course, because you're buying something from Whole Foods.
Okay, deal. After Dark starts in a moment for patrons and Apple Podcast subscribers. I'm Andrew.
I'm Laura.
And I'm Pamela.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.